Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going lovely. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I get to share with you a project with the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month Club Kit for November 2021. This stitched dies have been so popular over at Spellbinders, and I'm super happy that they came out with them in our club. They've did it a few times, but this one's extra special because you can use this without using thread or your embroidery floss, and there's so many uses for it. I mean, look at the scallop, how pretty that is. It's meant to do a wavy curve with this piece. So if you were to die cut this out, it would basically just emboss and then die cut out the little pierced holes to where you would thread your design, but you don't have to. It's pretty even without it. And then you have two of the scalloped borders, one on the top and one on the bottom. So if you were to put the scalloped border on the bottom of that, it would just give you a edge. If you die cut it out both, it would give you the entire piece. But we're not going to do any stitching today. I like to keep my videos a little bit on the shorter side, and so we're going to do an alternative, and that's what I like to do too, share with you guys some options with your club kits. I'm going to die cut out the background with some colored cardstock. The teal is waterfall, pink is I have to check on that and then I know the orange is persimmon. Pink, I forget the name. Let's see. Pink is, let's see, it is pink sand. I have to remember that one. So the backgrounds are going to be colored cardstock, and then I'll take the inside pieces of our ornaments, and you can see here they're separatable, if that's a word. You have the outline, and if you put the outline with the ornament, it will die cut out the ornament with that beautiful detail. And then those circle inserts are nice too. Now I want to add, I die cut out the decorative piece of the ornament with white cardstock, and I wanted to add a little bit of color to them, so I'm bringing in my Color Splash pencils. These are actually watercolor pencils. I don't know if Spellbinders has these anymore, but I'm just making sure that my pencils have a really sharp tip on them. And really, if you want to use your zig markers, if you wanted to use your Copic markers, you could do this. I chose watercolor pencils because I wanted to kind of spread out the color in certain areas on the front of that white ornament. So I'm grabbing 3 different colors that coordinate with my cardstock. So I have a teal, a pink, and an orange. These pencils are so nice because they have that color guide, and they have lots of options. So finding a color is pretty easy with that set. If Spellbinders has them, I'll link them below. But what I'm going to do is basically where I would do the stitch detail on these, I'm just going to draw lines with my pencils. So I'm basically going from dot to dot, dot to the center dot, outline dot to the center dot, outline dot to the center dot. Very easy to do. Basically you're kind of creating some spokes. And again, if you wanted to do this with embroidery floss or thread, I think that would be super pretty. But even a marker would be nice too, guys. I'm going to do the same thing with my other ornaments, just going dot to dot. And then once I'm done, I want to spread the color out. Since these are watercolor pencils, instead of using a water brush, I'm using my sparkle pen. Very easy to spread that color out this way. And again, if you want to use a Copic marker and just go over it with a sparkle pen, you could, but I just wanted certain areas to be concentrated in that color, and I think this is a great way to do it. I'm just going to wipe off my sparkle pen and do the same thing to my teal and also to my pink ornament there. Okay, now that we have this done, we're going to flip these over, and I'm just going to use my tape runner. You could use your glue if you'd like to, and then adhere this to the colored background. And I love the way these turned out, so pretty. And I'm going to do the same thing with the teal and then also my pink sand. Maybe if I say it often enough, I'll remember it. But we'll adhere this one. Okay, now with silver mirror cardstock, I die cut out 3 of the strings for the ornaments and then 3 of the ornament toppers. I'm just going to add a little dot of glue to the top of the ornaments and add the ornament topper here. The silver mirror cardstock does take a little bit of time to dry, but after, I'm going to zoom back out a bit. But after I have my ornament toppers done, we're going to go ahead and add our string. The best thing about the silver mirror cardstock is the way it die cuts. It die cuts so beautifully. I want to add a little adhesive behind the back of my ornament, and then basically what I want to do is flip it around, put my string through it, and then attach it to the back to that tape that we just adhered. I'm kind of out of camera view so you can't see it very well, but you'll be able to tell on the last one here. My ornament topper popped off a bit. I got to straighten it up a bit. Give that a little time to dry, and we'll do the same thing to this one. You see, you just take your string, thread it through the front, and then kind of tap it down on the back side of your ornament so it sticks down. And we're good to go. Now the scallops, I love these because of the versatility. To me they look like kind of like not only scallops but like fluffy clouds. They're just so pretty, and the sky's the limit with these. I'm going to go just along the bottom edge of a card front panel that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, just to create a little bit of a decorative edge on that bottom corner. And once we have this done, this is where we're going to put our ornaments. Now I did go ahead and die cut out some pine needles and also some small poinsettia flowers with white cardstock. Pine needles were with the peridot cardstock, I believe. Let me see. No, not peridot. It's the rainforest. No, I believe it's peridot. The two colors are pretty similar, but maybe it's the peridot. So we're going to embellish our panel with some pine needles and poinsettias. Now this stuff is amazing. If you haven't tried Spellbinders Sparkle Silk, you're going to fall in love with it. It's like in a paintbrush bottle, and it's very watery. All you do is splatter it and create some very like sparkle splash in the background. But you can also go over anything with them. Die cuts. I'm going to go over, this is the large die of the month club kit. I was just showing you where I got these from. But if you add it to white cardstock, it just adds that beautiful intense silver, especially to the poinsettias, because there's etched detail in them, and so that sparkle really sets in that etched detail. So it just makes a really nice difference. So I'll link it down below if you guys are interested. They have a Sparkle Silk Silver, and then they have a Sparkle Silk Gold. So pretty. I don't have the gold, but that's on my wish list. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and layer my poinsettia flowers together. There's 2 pieces. I'm just putting the small one on top of the larger one. So we have 3 flowers in total. Kind of curling up the flowers to give them a little bit of dimension. So pretty, huh? Okay, now once our flowers are done, we'll give those a little chance to dry. I'm going to take my panel here. We're going to flip over our ornaments, and I left the upper portion of the die cut scalloped edge piece card front size, so it's going to go basically on the very front of our card without any border on it. We're going to add some foam adhesive behind each one of our ornaments here. We'll do our last pink one with pink sand. And I think we're going to layer it right above our Persimmon cardstock. All the cardstock that I'm using today, guys, is the Spellbinders Color Essentials. It's very nice cardstock. Okay, that looks, I think that's positioned well. Now, with the strings of the ornaments, you can chop them off and just glue the tops down, or the best thing about the silver mirror cardstock is you can just fold it over, and it keeps its shape. So nice. So that's what I did. I just folded it over. Now after we have this done, I'm going to go ahead and flip over my panel. Actually, before we add foam adhesive behind it, let's go ahead and add our pine needles. I'm going to add them just above the ornament topper, above the pink sand and above the waterfall cardstock. And then I have one left over. I'm going to add a flower. I don't want to cover up the ornament topper, I want some of that silver to show. So I'm kind of offsetting the flower a bit so you can see it. You'll see in the close-ups. I'm going to do the same thing to this flower here. And then our third flower, I'm going to put right next to the left of our orange persimmon ornament. Just kind of filling in the area. And then I have one of my pine needles left, and we're going to just do a little tucking with that one. I love the way this looks. It just looks so Christmassy. Okay, now we'll flip it over. I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind this panel, and then we're going to give it a little bit more dimension. And again, of course, if you guys don't like all that dimension, skip adding foam tape behind it. Just adhere it to your card base. But after we have this done, I do want to bring in some gems. I'm using some larger gems. These actually came from a Spellbinders card kit. They did sell them outside the card kit, and if they still do, I'll link them down below. But they're so pretty. They're Damask Daydream gemstones, and they're on the larger side, kind of have an iridescent hue to them. I just put the larger ones in the center of my ornaments and the smaller ones in the center of my poinsettias. Now for my sentiment, I chose the Merry Christmas from the Sunday Drive All Occasions Sentiment stamp set. This is meant to go with the Sunday Drive card, but it's versatile. I use it for all sorts of occasions, just like the sentiments in it. This is just a block sentiment. I'm going to angle the left side here, and then I'm going to just block off the top here. I'm going to bring in some small foam squares and pop this up and kind of do a little tucking underneath that orange ornament. And I'm happy with the way that looks. I think it looks really pretty. Now, the only black on my card was my sentiment. So to fix that, I'm bringing in my Memento pen, and I'm just basically adding some very fine lines around the area that you would normally do your stitching from those dot to dots basically. And I don't think I even told you guys the name of this month's Small Die of the Month Club kit. It's called Stitched Curve Border and Ornaments. That's my project. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you again real soon, guys. Bye-bye.